And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EU League. Game number 3, Playday number 3, stage 1 in 2021. Lots of numbers, and don't you worry, we're going to break them all down for you. Jess and Ace are on the desk. You guys cast it for the first time together last week. How are you ready for things today?
I am ready. I've got to say, I think that the sentence, Milos, should be Jess and Ace are on the case. It's just come to me.
I really like it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
It's lovely. It's lovely. It's wonderful. Jess,
Ace.
it's so cute.
You know, before Ace was here,
it's my favorite.
Ace was here, they would mock my accent. So I'm really glad you're here, Ace, because now the heat's been taken off my accent and it's been brought onto yours. So it's spot on. Thank you, Ace.
So here it is. We are back on here, Ace, Jess, preparing for our next matchup. It's TrainHard versus BDS. Again, a big French game, but we'll have to see how TrainHard performed today. Let's actually pull things up for the TH squad up first. We've so far had a rough start in day 1, losing to Navi, and then defeating Team Secret, who seemed out of place in our last Playday. What's up with these guys today? A tough game.
It's certainly been a tale of two performances, really. Playday 1, as you say, they just never really showed up for, and Playday 2 were very surprising, coming in super aggressive, playing very quick, right up in the faces of Team Secret, not giving them any space or room to breathe, and just forcing mistakes, really. It's going to be an uphill battle to do that against the good BDS team today, who aren't ones for making mistakes, but I'm sure they're going to try the same game plan, and we've got to point out that performance from Chaoxis from Playday 2 really did go wild.
All right, and their opponents, I don't think they even need an introduction. It is BDS, and man, they bodied Empire in our last Playday, Jess.
I mean, the only weakness I saw really was the 7-5 against Vitality, and that's really the only sort of scratch in their reputation that they've had for me. Only the downfall, I guess, of BDS was them losing the major and then the finals and et cetera, et cetera. But, I mean, you really sit here and you go, actually, BDS, they're at the top of their game. They're the kings of best of one. That's how I've always labeled them. They always do really well in best of one situations. Do I think TrainHard could be their kryptonite because they're an unexpected value? Absolutely, but that's really what you've got to be to beat a team like BDS. Is you've got to bring the unexpected.
That's a conversation that we're going to dig a bit deeper into. First, let's take a look at the two highlight players that you brought up for a head-to-head. One out of each one of these two teams, TrainHard and BDS, and it's Chaoxis and Playday. Ace, these two look like support players. Do you know a thing or two about that? Thermite players, huh? Those are a rare breed nowadays.
It's funny that you should say that, Milos, because I've been known to play a hard breach or two, and I will have no comment made about whether that's down to my mechanical skill or not, but it's certainly not in the case of these two guys. Both very, very capable, as we know. Chaoxis coming out and having a fantastic Playday 2, 15 kills on the day, went absolutely wild, did absolutely everything for his team, and it was something you pointed out, Jess, I'm going to bring you in on this, was the contrast between the way he did what Playday did last year.
Yeah, that was my biggest comparison point between these two players, is that if you watch stage 1 of last year, when Playday was the highest rated player in almost every single category, even though he's a support player, now Chaoxis is doing what Playday did last year, now as like a sort of rendition, bringing him back on stage, but Playday can't do it anymore. That's my problem, is that he's fallen below the positive rating mark out of all of his teams on a 0.99. That's still phenomenal for a player in EU, right? So that's still good, but it's not what he used to do, and Chaoxis is now in the spotlight where he belongs.
All right, our lobby is ready, so very quickly let's take a look at our map before we toss it to our casters. I'm quite curious to see where TrainHard are able to push BDS towards. As you were talking about, aggression might be the name of the game, but no, they're going to go to Clubhouse, and TrainHard will start off on defense because, what? So TrainHard banned Villa, they get Clubhouse in the end, and BDS says, you know what, we're starting off on attack. All right, very quickly, is this the right decision? Why? Let's toss it to game very quickly. Just go.
Yes, they lost to G2 Navi. They've got cracks in their Clubhouse play, I think, so it's a possibility. Yep.
TrainHard won there last week. They're going to be super confident.
All right, down and dirty, down directly to the point here, Ace, staring at the camera. I see those eyes, beady little eyes. Let's then get ready for our game. He's ready to go and see how it goes. TrainHard versus BDS going to Clubhouse. And guess what Fluke and Hap will take us through this journey. Please enjoy.
Thank you, Milos, and it indeed will be BDS and TrainHard. Choose your favy, as you would say. Who's going to be able to take that one? I myself think it's going to be BDS. They are the superior team, some would say, especially if you're looking at just, their performances in the French League. And it looks like the community agrees with me that them being the favy.
Yeah, I like how we're going to make favy catch on. It's a Milos saying now that it's gonna
hashtag make favy trending.
Yeah, spread through the echelons of Siege. And if you were a Twitch chat gambling person, you would probably put your money and your points onto BDS. You're looking at a team that is very, very good against most teams, seemingly often at their best against teams from their region, teams that they know. Sometimes you'll see a team that goes against a team that they hit up in Nats, and it doesn't go so great because they're familiar with each other. BDS, they're often even better against other French sides.
Yeah, they do manage to keep it up, right? They do manage to keep their wins going in, and well, them starting out on the attack today might have something to do with a confidence boost, wanting to start off taking the initiative. Maybe it's something they saw as in maybe TrainHard takes 2-3 rounds to get warmed up, to get into that matchup before they get going. And well, if you are ready yourselves as BDS, that's 2 or 3 attacking rounds you can already list on that board and build on from there. So there might be various reasons to it, and we will never know until we will ask them. But we are going to be seeing if it was the right choice or not, because we are heading into it as the final ban comes in. It is going to be a Wamai, and that might actually bring BDS into this game with a couple more grenades or throwables.
Well, let's see how it breaks down here. Now, it's always worth obviously looking towards Club and how it's built up some momentum for these teams. Villa being an option last time as well. It was obviously a very good demonstration from BDS before, but okay, it's hard to pull similarities with TrainHard and what was Tempera, because obviously it was kind of pieced apart and together. The parts of them versus Tempera before in the previous season, Villa was a win into the favor of the parts of Tempera. And I'm going to keep saying parts. But Club went into the way of BDS in a 7-2 in the showing in that best of 3.
Yeah, but there's of course many different players on that roster now. Spark finally returning to competitive play. Took him a while before he found himself back in. Don't forget Blaz, the Shaiko 2.0, according to some, will now be playing against Shaiko. So we will get to see who is indeed still
who's the real
king.
Shaiko.
Who's the real Shaiko indeed. Who's going to be performing, who's going to be taking the top there. AF Nora coming in as the last one completing this lineup, with of course Kioxis and Doza, who were on Tempera. And there is a lot of potential in this roster. It's just not all unlocked yet. I do see a very heavy hold towards cash CCTV if we're getting ready. And this is something we just saw on the previous map as well. Just try and force them to go through this area. You can chip away a lot of time with that.
I'm still going to say I couldn't tell you the last operator I saw when added to the pool to have the pick rate consistency of a Rooney. It's every game you're seeing quite a lot as well. I'm really curious to see the numbers when they come out at the end of the season, because these adaptations, these extensions that we're seeing around the top of red, the way that we're seeing teams utilize the possibility of those gates as that double lock mechanism here on the hard wall as well, hoping for the push from that close side so they can't get the direct swing in without burning a little bit more utility. It's just really nice to see how teams are adapting to this possibility of a new addition.
I was really excited to see a Rooney coming into play in combination with a castle as well, of course, because you can. It's basically right. If you put a castle down, you put a Rooney, your laser gate right in front of it. It takes 2 projectiles to get rid of, right? So it's it is a good way to combo them. Might not always be the case right here, as you see 2 of them not really being put down onto any of the castles, but it's definitely going to be making the utility game a little bit harder for the attackers. There's more they need to clear. They need to use more throwables. They need to still take care of the castle barricades eventually. and it's going to be slowing everything down. But slowing down is definitely not something Alems does as he gets the first kill.
Yeah, push the Goyo on the top of red there. They had him dead to rights on multiple different angles, and look at this, the rotation instantly of Blaz and Chaoxis that are heading back towards the site. The late rotation there on the logistics construction wall to kind of just offer themselves some solidity. The castles go down too. They don't want to play the risk game here. They're again baiting the amount of utility, saying, okay, knock through this wall. Ahaha, we had a castle there as well, but it's not slowing BDS. Shaiko pops a Goyo on the opposite side. They're going to crack open the wall, but I believe it's still muted, so it's going to require a little bit more support and afterthought and maybe some pressure from Logistics Hatch.
Oh, there is still one EMP, of course, available. Renshiro is going to be able to make that Selma pop and open up a little bit of a breach. Charles Blast has taken a bit of damage from the outside, right behind the weight rack here, hoping to come in huge in the late round here, as Thursday's the first one to really take any of the gunfights here. Takes down Shaiko. That's the first one off the board. It is going to be one more into return, though, as Renshiro picks one up, but that leaves us with 40 seconds in a 3-on-4 situation.
Okay, Blaz holding the close angle here, hoping to catch the man on the hop in. Again, we've seen him pop off quite big. He's droned out. He tries to find a new comfortable position, but everywhere is littered with bullets. One more hop over the bed, and one more swing of Lems. Almost caught sleeping, but sends him and tucks him in, and now it's only Spark. He's rotated round to the opposite side. The pings are coming through and consistent. They seem well aware on where the body is. He can't quite make it land as they've picked up the diffuser. They're heading round behind the gym machine. He's not going to be able to stop this as he's dancing and picking and trying to, but failing. BDS find their opener on Jim.
In the end, Crossfire set up there. As soon as he walked out of that door, he was being shot at from two sides. Alems eventually being able to pick up that kill, and of course they have a BDS picking up the first attacking round, and this is something I said before at the start of this matchup. Is it a wise choice? Well, if they manage to pick up 1, 2, maybe even 3 rounds at the start of this game, while still trying to set in, set the pace and make sure what it will be like, then BDS already won that half, basically. 2 rounds is considered good from the attackers and defenders. 3 would be considered a win, as in many other different maps. And BDS definitely starting off strong there, as they managed to pick up the first one straight away after playing a bit of a trade game, getting the initial opening.
A lot of possibility for morale, and that's one of the things that when a team opts to take the more uncomfortable start, when they lean in to the pressures that are put forward, it's all built around that confidence game. We see it from Gamma sometimes. TranHard likes to throw them to a bit of caution and wind. We saw it from xCrazy/xMNM quite a lot as well, back when they were kind of putting that pressure down, and they too would like to start attack on maps that they knew that they could play attack well, because if you're on your defense and you're after that rotten foot, you're after that rotten start, it's so much worse for some teams, because although you should try and win every round, there are some where you feel it should be yours, and to have those taken away, it hurts twice as bad.
And that's why starting on the attack and getting the first couple of rounds would be very beneficial, because that puts that mentality into your opponent's shoes. And it's now to TrainHard to try and make sure that it will not get out of hand, that they will be able to take and seize control of this matchup early on. They are the ones that need to show BDS how quick they can go through that map, how quickly they are allowed to clear out room after room. And if they're unable to do so, then we know what BDS will do. They will rip you apart. They will take control very consistently, very confidently as well, as they will be taking you down one by one and, well, basically destroying and dismantling everything you bring.
Daz is not going to dance too much on the top floor as he's quickly pushed into a more uncomfortable position, realized the extension that was played previously by the Goyo on the top of red was picked apart without them really having to dig into the hefty utility. And here, it seems a similar story. They went for a tall extension, but then they decided best probably not to try and hold on to it. That does burn 1 minute and 10 seconds, but also leaves a lot open, and BDS now, they're happy to try and start charging over the top 2 floors, making sure they have all of their opponent's bodies where they want them. And you can see the deep angles Shaiko is playing and the pressure already coming down blue, and utility, they're not wasting any time.
Of course, they do not want to waste time. They want to have as much time as possible going for the final execute. And it seems like Blue is going to be one of these battlegrounds that will evolve very shortly, as the Lems is trying to put some pressure down into the back of the church room there, hoping that a peek would maybe happen. But so far, not yet. As Shaiko is going to be opening up some of these hatches. Blast seems to be thinking about going for a potential flank. Not quite sure if that will be watched or not.
Well, he's definitely toying with the idea, and I guess it's one of those plays where he's pulled back for now. He's obviously still aware of the pressure, but Durs is locked in. He is the hammer that is being called over Kitchen as Rafal steadily makes work of all the possibility of angles, but with Castle still down on Moto, they're happy to try and put the pressure here onto the Kitchen hatch instead. Dropping with all 10 players still on the board. Blaz is the one that wants to get a swing, but it's Noah that gets the opener there. Is he allowed to just stick this? Surely not, but he does. Now we're in a post plant with a man upstairs. Playday dropped by Blaz. The big play in rotation has come through for some of the possibilities, with Shaiko trying to get an angle onto the diffuser itself. The last two players of BDS are both upstairs after Blaz obviously rotated back down towards the A spot, and here he is trying to keep up that momentum, but caught from above. And one more. There is the catch on the rotation up the staircase though. Shaiko, a triple kill, a 1 versus 1, and only a handful of seconds left. Pops a smoke to cover the sound and the motion. Are you paying attention? There it is. Shaiko and BDS with a second in a row.
As soon as that plane goes down there, Fluke, and you have members still upstairs, there is no way that you're going to be able to take that win unless you manage to take control of the kitchen again. And, well, it was a smart play popping up that smoke, hoping to distract them, right? Hoping to make sure that the sound cue doesn't quite come through. But Shaika knew as well. If I peek now, there will be less than 7 seconds left. There's no way that they will still be able to get the plan done, or defuse rather, and we will win the round. And that's exactly what happened there. They managed to win that round. It's 2-0 right now, and TrainHard, again, not able to win their defensive round. And so far, the bet from BDS, the starting the attack, seems to be paying out well.
Well, let's see if they can keep putting the pressure on as TrainHard keep rotating sites. They're not going to find themselves sat stale, but they are starting to, I guess, have a couple of questions asked. Okay, there was still pretty much all 10 players on the board by the time the drop to the site came through. They stuck the diffuser down with all the confidence that is, for a lot of people, the toughest thing in this game to do. Stare at the ground for 7 seconds, isolated, and hope that the cover comes through. It worked and paid off. And with the 2 bodies left. And I know I complimented Blaz on his rotate. Instead of going up oil, he went back round to the back of the A, found the A box, found 2 kills from there, and then pushed towards the diffuser itself. They did apply some pressure on the main staircase afterwards, but when 2 people have the lockdown from above like that, it just kind of, well, led to the result it did. So, TrainHard, what's next, I suppose?
Yeah, what is next? They do still have CCTV cache open, and thus the choice will be made to go there as well. Bar, of course, being a site that isn't really considered viable, and, well, I have to agree. I think we've only seen it being played once over all the leagues, and, well, it was won, but purely in gun skill rather than on the strategy. But BDS now having to attack CCTV cache, often considered the primary bomb site, even though we more often than not nowadays see it being used as the tertiary or secondary bomb site. There's a quick breach will be coming through due to Thatcher being available. It's going to be a rush as well. They're in. Shaiko gets 1 kill. Playday will be going down for the defuse there, and that means that it is going to be a good opportunity here to BDS make this a very quick one.
Well, they saw an opportunity, they took it, but look at this, the bodies remaining of TrainHard. Well, there's only one, and it's Blaz, no longer. BDS, 3 of them, set themselves up with the possibility. We obviously saw the 2 on the CC breach. Shaiko, if you missed it, hopped in from the CC window 2. They quickly flooded. They knew that there was a single body on top of red. We saw them apply some pressure onto the construction wall 2 between cache and construction so they could catch the body that was trying to rotate back round from the bedroom side. And TrainHard were caught completely unaware by the game pace.
They are indeed completely being caught unaware right here, especially that round. I think that's a really good example to set. BDS knew that they were offsite, right? They knew one was red, one was rafters, all right? Probably good drones having in position right there for BDS. and they played on it. Good call coming down there from the IGL, just saying, all right, guys, we're just going to go for that push. Make sure you're ready. And we are going to be making this round a quick one, because that's exactly what they did. They managed to storm in, they get the diffuser down, and end it maybe 15 seconds afterwards. And right now, TrainHard back towards Gym Bedroom after failing on all 3 sites. And BDS having their bet of starting on attack already being paid off. And we're not even halfway through yet.
There was a meme tweeted before this game.
Oh, was it?
By Eaglemees.
Oh, my Dutch fellow.
Your Dutch fellow friend. For those who don't know,
fellow friend.
Big brain behind BDS and some of the success that they've had. And he said, it's tough to prepare for TrainHard, who have had a big roster shuffle. We can only really go off the previous 2 games. So you got to give credit for what they've learned from the previous 2 games, because
yeah, definitely,
they're reading them like a book right now. As we just saw, that was just, they knew where they needed to go and why they needed to put pressure there. And you would think that they had seen that hold dozens of times with how quickly they dismantled it.
But they haven't. That's the whole thing behind it. They haven't seen it, and they just probably saw it on the drones. They made the call and they made it stick, because that is what BDS does. They have that amazing gun skill. They have the opportunity to make these plays work if the defense is not ready for it. And it was exactly the case. They were not ready for it. And what BDS is doing right now is that they are setting up a bit of a split. They're opening up construction. They have opened up on the CCTV wall already, and that means there could be pressure coming down from both sides. And if they manage to do that, the 2 members playing in there will be stuck, will not be able to rotate back to site. And as Rashiro is now coming up here, Jacuzzi will be opened up as well. The Mute Jammer will not hold, and that is going to be making it really tough for the 1 or actually 2 Soul members on that side.
Well, Shaka wants to put pressure over the bed now, swinging to see if he can catch any of the blue bodies out of whack, but so far no blood has been spilt. Last time, they instantly put the pressure onto the top of red to lock out Nura, who is now playing it much more aggressively, right up against that Aruni window, and, well, suffers the same fate to a different red body. Shaiko finds one as well, and quickly they've been able to pull that pressure instantly out of CC. The rotation happens underneath. They cannot hang around too much, because they know that if BDS smells blood, the shark will bite, and they actually are able to bite back a Lems next off the board.
Blaz finding a return right there indeed, bringing it back to a 3-on-4 situation, and we see this famous position now. However, no grenade or no C4 available on Blaz as he carries 2 impact grenades. So that C4 kill we saw on APAC the other day, it's not going to be happening now. And Dur's on a really good spot as well, still inside cash, holding a very long angle right here on the window jump-ins, meaning that there's no way that they will just be jumping in before they take care of Durza. But of course, as I say that, he rotates off. He knows he's going to get droned. With 40 seconds left, Shaiko creates another opening. It's a 2-on-3 situation now as Durza gets one. So that means that they know where one is. They just need to find out where Blaz is before they get that planted down.
Well, Briday's going to try and stick it now. They're going for a bit of a swing and a rotate. Renshiro has it locked down. It's all down to Blaz. He's well aware. They'll be well aware of what he's trying to do here. Sneaks around one side, goes for a bit of revenge. Can't quite find it. And Rafal finds the 4th in a row for BDS. And I said at the beginning of this, they are often at their best against their country folk. They're kind of demonstrating that right now.
Yeah, they are showing why they're the favorites of the league. They are showing why they are, well, a top team in France, you know, in terms of the National League. And, well, so far, TrainHard not really having anything to say yet. Just a couple of kills, really, on the board right there on the likes of TrainHard. Look at that. 10 kills in total over the last 4 rounds. Not really looking too good for the likes of TrainHard, and BDS already 4 rounds up onto their attack. Now, is this going to be an attack side of map? I don't think so, especially if you look at the bands. We see a Maverick band, we see a Hibana band. The response of BDS was, of course, bring Thermite, bring Ace, still have 2 Heart Breachers on the board because it's very important to a map like Clubhouse. And now you might be thinking, did the Mist Thatcher ban help BDS? Yes, it did. Is it coming back to bite TrainHard here? Yes, it definitely does. And I hope that they will be able to use into the same form of success as that BDS is doing. Because it's not just, right, they open up the wall quite easily, and that's the impact of Thatcher, right? Yeah. No, because what BDS is doing is they open up the wall very quickly because of Thatcher, so the first part is correct. But then they overflood the site, they rush, they rotate around, whatever it is they did in that round. and they manage to take control. And that is because they don't have to play a 1.5-minute game in opening up the wall, because they can do it in 10 seconds and then use the remaining 120 seconds into a different position to actually go for picks and go for gunfights, which they are so good at.
So far, it's never really felt like BDS are stressed for time. All of this, as he's just said, has been towards when they are controlling and dictating the movement and momentum of the game itself. They know where they want to be, why they want to be there, but at the same time, if an opportunity presents itself, they will take it with both hands and then use those hands to plant a diffuser, usually. So it's one of those tough moments for TrainHard, as they've got to try and wrest control of this back into their favor. Chaoxis trying to rotate down the main stairs and put some pressure onto a Lems, who's just dug in the middle. We can see, obviously, one more body not too far away. They toyed with the idea of pushing towards the bar, but then pulled off. But look at that. It's almost caught out, really unaware. Rafal finds Durza, and a Lems lucky to escape with his life. But look at all the conversation he's now involved in.
Yeah, they are aware of Chaoxis' position, and that might come back right now if they manage to find 1 or 2 more kills. That surely will be a sight that will be over Ren. Nura now falling as well. Blaz offside. We have Chaoxis offside, meaning there's only one member, and that is going to be Spark, that is playing around the side. And as he is now going back in, if BDS manage to find this out, they're going to be able to overrun that side with a 5v1 situation right here. That is definitely not something TrainHard is looking forward to, as Blaz now coming back up on the secret stairs. It's going to be sneaking up, gets one before he gets punished himself, and that is going to be bringing it in a 2v4 situation with 70 seconds left on the board. It's so much time for BDS. What can TrainHard do to halt this off?
Okay, Oxys has the C4 in hand and has the possibility to find his first for the day. Someone who had such a storm last week, unfortunately, has been completely blown aside across these rounds. BDS, as you said, plenty of time, and they're utilizing it as they get themselves droned up, set up, and still approaching the new possibilities of the angles. There's the C4 ripped and ready for the push in here from Playday, who's probably going to want to try and stick the diffuser down. They're aware and concerned of the possibility of all the angles and pre-firing any that might be held, but they're in, they're planting. This is Chaoxis' moment to try and get the free kill. There it is, there it goes, and there goes the planter. But that is all they had to counter that, apart from the 2 final canisters. But with 20 seconds, BDS have lost the Lems on the red stairs. Suddenly, this has started to fall into the favor of TrainHard. They're putting another canister down. Renshiro is just going to stick it. He's somehow been able to find a gap in the smoke, and no! It sticks through. Another diffuser goes down. TrainHard had the possibility of clutching it out there, and they still do. One more off the board. There it is. Chaoxis dropped from range. Rafal and Spark in a 1 versus 1. A Lems is underneath. Maybe heard the drop in the rotation, hanging in a flip of angles. Seems well aware and is going to have to try and swing out and take this fight. Sees the top of the rappel, sees the dance of the man on the opposite side. Going to bait the play and hope the drone intel swings his way, and it doesn't. Rafal. Well, what? It was a surety of BDS, but TrainHard almost pulled it back.
They almost pulled it back indeed, and I was looking at it, right? There's one guy on site literally throughout the entire round almost, and they just stayed calm. BDS wanted to go for the slow approach right there. It almost cost them, I have to say, as they did manage to bring it back. And, well, they didn't in the end, of course. TrainHard lost the round, and that was purely due to the fact that BDS was able to get the plan down. And now you're wondering why. Well, Lems was DBNO'd at the bottom of the red stairs. Did you see that one smoke canister they used up there to try and secure that kill? They failed to do so, and as a result, they didn't have the extra smoke canister left to try and deny the plant. Also, afterwards, they actually thought Lems was still up, because you saw him checking the garage, even though a kill just came down from the plateau. They thought he was still alive, where he got picked up again, and that made them kind of worry right there. So a bit of misinformation coming through, misuse of utility possibly as well, resulting into the first actual close round that we have seen so far, but still in favor of BDS, able to win 5 attacking rounds in a row, and now going up for their 6th.
Yeah, 5 attacking rounds, 4 of them with a plant. It's pretty smooth sailing. As you said, that one almost came down to it. There was a part that every time we're in a situation now where it's a Sophia that goes down and they're isolated, I'm like, ha ha ha.
Withstand that.
Yeah, I don't know, it's not been in the game for a little bit of time, but you still get that little bit of satisfaction from it. Either way, You're right. It was a little bit of a misthrow of utility there. They had the C4 and then they were able to rotate round. It looks like, I think BDS got a little bit of a lucky breath because there was a smoke that was popped close to them, but it didn't quite catch where the diffuser planter was. And whether it was because of the concern of someone swinging up red potentially and needed to be via the miscalls, either way, it was close. It was just one canister short of a single point on their board. And now they find themselves battling for their first and final attempt on their defense.
And it's not looking really good right here for the likes of TrainHard when you're trying to get your first defensive round in at round number 6. Now, it's not Coastline, it's not Consulate we're talking about, where it could be like completely possible that the game is super attack-sided. Normally not really the case on Clubhouse, not to this degree. And BDS are absolutely schooling TrainHard almost on how to attack and how to dismantle anything they bring. And yes, there is a lot of potential on the lineup, but BDS is absolutely destroying them right now.
And, well, I guess it's seeing if that continues. Shaiko wasting no time at all, trying to get control of the stockroom and put pressure down onto the blue hatch. You can see they've gone with a bit of an adaptation here where they're not truly playing onto the top floor. Last time we were down here, they very quickly fell back. They opened up a full extension to the top floor. Here, well, they didn't do the full extension, but they did do a very quick pullback. It seemed like they wanted to try and play against some of the angles that were being opened up, but decided against it. Instead, they're going to play this game. Lock the hatches down. Don't give them that free little bit of rotation, and instead play a little bit more counter-aggressive to them.
I believe that's the first time that we're actually seeing an electrification operator coming in, rather Bandit or Cade, as they have been relying a lot on the mute, which just easily gets disabled by the EMPs that Thatcher bring. Richiro doing an absolute phenomenal job, just tossing a softball at the wall and, well, allowing his teammates, either Playday or Shaiko, to open up, allowing the rest of the team to push through. And now a grenade being tossed in there is basically going to be stopping Spark from juggling the Electro Claw, and with that, possibly destroy the one that was placed as well. And that means that the hatch has now been opened up.
Yeah, unfortunately, those EMPs dampen those claws and smother that Spark in the hands of the aforementioned man, able to catch... No, just misses the first pop of the angle, but does stop it turning into a rotatable hole. It does allow Shaiko something to swing in aggressively on and put some pressure down towards the dining table, with Alems offering a pinch from the backside. All 10 players still alive, much longer than last time, but at the same time, this time before Playday had put the diffuser down. Now they're struggling to just find that first claw into the site. With the approach on Moto, it starts with Alems taking care of Durza. You can see all the red bodies rotating to try and apply some pressure on this side. Draw the attention away from Blaz and the hatch below. Playday wants to drop, but can't find the comfortable angle. Spark finds Shaiko. It's now or never, and Blaz says no entry as he quickly swings round, catches one on the opposite side. Rafal with a quick trade. There's the body down. Took his eyes off the hatch. The trade from A-Box. They can't quite find the last kill, and TrainHard find a round on their defense.
They find one indeed, and that leaves BDS in a 5-1 advantage right here to try and clear up the next 2 rounds on their defense. And whilst you saw a bit of happiness on the likes of TrainHard, you also see the concern on their faces right now about, well, basically the situation they are in. And I have to say it, if it wasn't for the one member still being in dirt, that could have actually been another plant situation. That could have been another BDS round potentially, because we had Rafal on the main stairs, could quickly rotate back up if he wanted to play the angle from above again. As Playday dropped down, managed to kill the one that was playing deep, just was unaware of the player inside of Dirt Tunnel, who eventually took him out. And now BDS starting on that same side, starting in the basement on their first round on defense. Not bringing any electrification operators themselves either, just the mute for now. And we do see the Thatcher making the appearance on TrainHard, so they should theoretically have a easy job opening up everything they would like to have opened up.
Well, a lot of potential stop here on a pacey approach that might come through from the hands of TrainHard. I'm curious to see, obviously, where these Echo drones go. If you're looking at the potential of getting some intel there was a bit of debate, it's fair to say, about when they lost their invisibility and just how useful and just how malleable Echo would be. And if anything, I quite like the creativity that's come out of people finding sneaky places to put the drones and use them just as little intel grabbers from the sides, rather than put them on the roof, let them sit invisibly and play their long game.
Definitely, you gotta actually hide them now. Make sure that they come into play at the moment it's actually needed. Maybe get a little bit of information from it in a good spot. Often like hidden in shelves or under chairs, couches, whatever you can find. Just to make sure that they are not spotted that easily. No longer really sticking on the ceilings. As TrainHard will be going for the top approach. They are opening up some of the hatches, droning out that top floor, making sure everything is safe. We'll do so within the minute. Just wondering whether or not there will be one playing on the rafters. Kind of missed that. I believe there is. Twice, okay.
That's a very well made wall.
Unfortunate, but true. Blast now putting pressure. The Spark actually with the first kill to Renshiro. I believe that was in Garage. That is going to be opening things up. The Melusi off the board. Right now, leaving BDS in a 4-man stack up against the 5 of TrainHard.
Well, very early and very, I'm going to say, out of step there. Being blasted from the long range on the door of Garage isn't the best catch for a player who can go so big. Okay, it's Melusi, so you assume that all of her usage and utility is already out in the places it needs to be, but it's in preventable death, I think, in a lot of people's books. So far, TrainHard have done very well in getting control of the rest of the map, making sure they have all their angles and ideas. They are not putting this to chance. They know they technically only have 2 lives, and they want to make sure that every single one is lived to, well, the fullest, but the safest level of full. So, it's going to start with a little bit more of collapse and pressure onto Shaiko inside blue and utility.
Really like to highlight, by the way, quickly, the reverse reinforcements we see on the triple wall church. Makes it a bit easier to toss over the C4s and harder to get the grenades in due to the hitbox, of course, being on the other side right there. That aside, however, will we see that into play? Most likely not at the moment, as the push seems to be coming down from, well, blue mainly, as Blast is already entering there. And as I say, that gets taken down by Shaiko, playing in a power position, getting a double kill, somehow surviving 2 grenades, putting up a bit of a tag onto Durza as well, but brings it back to a 3-on-3, which is very important right here. And a Spark now drops. That is going to be him stuck inside a motorcycle hatch. 20 seconds left.
Somehow Shaiko survives 2 frag grenades, and he's still looking for more pressure, put bullets and bodies down, and looks to try and find more. They have entirely stacked themselves up inside church, waiting for this push on Moto. It's 10 seconds, and that's an English shotgun with a double on the closest door. The best place it ever operates. One more, and they have the constant pings, and they have another kill. Rafal locks it down, and BDS put themselves on map point with a lot of defenses left to lock it off.
You see the contrast up to the opposing team of TrainHard. A lot of smiles on their faces, relaxation, just people hanging back, stretching their arms, compared to the somewhat stressed faces we saw on TrainHard after they managed to win their one and only round on the defense in round number 6. And now BDS, they know, all right, 1 point secured. Let's make that 3. Give Na'Vi a run for their money, as they are currently tied up in first place with them. Well, if they are going to be able to manage this in a 7-1, that round differential will speak for them and will be putting them into a very good position for the remainder of this stage.
You got to give credit there to Shaiko. I know that's one of the things. You say that quite a lot, didn't you? Whenever BDS play, you say that a lot. But
yeah, you say that a lot.
You know, it was a 5 versus 3, and then he was able to pull a kill either side of him, and then almost got a kill on the 3rd through blue hatch. Obviously did, was it blue stairs or oil where he got the first?
I think it was the stairs. He managed to get the first kill out, and then instantly swung around into the motorcycle hatch and picked up the second one.
And then almost got the sledge too, whilst being grenaded.
Yeah, that's an important detail, right?
Yeah.
Just, you know, keeps calm under pressure, gets 2 grenades being tossed at him. But it's basically what Shaiko does. And I hate to say it every single time, but think of the pillar on Oregon in the basement. He plays there. He plays right here behind the AC unit, you know, picks up a couple of kills as well. Boiler, I believe it is. Any map you can imagine. And there is, like, a little place you can play behind, but you're able to play 2 or 3 angles from that one little object, it is going to be Shaika playing there. The more angles he can cover, the better it is for BDS, and that is just the truth.
Well, here they find themselves stacked up and waiting to see if they can hold this off. Shaiko, well, he's not waiting. He finds the hop-in into Jim was dropped almost instantly, swung on from construction door, you assume, after he tried to find the peak via that little soft connector wall. And well, he found someone early, but you think of what's gone now. Those frag grenades from the opposite side. That's going to put Bandit in a bit of a tight situation here as Shaiko does get caught by Nora, who drops over and drifts to the opposite side. They found the pinch and a bit of pressure, and that was a desperate but big play for them to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, they have created a little bit of an opening. Now Spark also with a very important drone in the middle of the site. You have to point that out. That is going to be huge if they manage to actually go for an execute eventually, because it's going to be feeding information. They will know whether people are on rafters. So you have a disconnect, of course, but that person, so it doesn't really matter. But they will know where they're coming from. And it does, however, look like TrainHard is going to be favoring towards that push from the construction side, which they will still have to do work from, but they have an EMP left, they have exothermics left, there's plenty of time, plenty of utility left to make that happen. And whilst they're trying to go for a couple of picks now, surely soon we will hear those explosives go ringing.
Well, Spark wants to drop onto the opposite side. Maestro is putting pressure down from the top of rafters all the way outside to the window just by construction. Nora can't get close until they have some countenance, something from the opposite side, but Spark still has some work to do on the top floor, rolling it to get these court walls and make sure Playday can't catch the last exothermic. Here's the game, here's the roll, here comes the Thatcher, and there goes that last exothermic, and Spark.
Oh no, he fell on the roof.
Oh, that wasn't good. In the movement of trying to get that to hit the right spot, falls off. 40 seconds. It's either a 20-second diversion to get him up, which then puts you within direct line towards getting back to site, or you just have to take it. And it seems like that's what they're going to do. There is a Lems catching one round the back stairs. Red has been dropped. Now it's a 4 versus 2. They have to push onto site. No other option, but Playday says this is the only option. No entry. Nora opened the round for TrainHard with the kill onto Shaiko. With only 15 seconds left, he slips off the roof, tries to get a new angle with the rappel, but it's a hop in to a dead window, and I think at this point, well, it's a GG BDS.
The GG's indeed coming out right there. You saw they wanted to put the exothermic down onto the construction wall. The mistake they made there was putting it in the middle of 2 as, Playday quickly, doing some merch promotion right on stream using his time.
You're doing it.
Oh, look at a little cushion. You see that
they
one
also
of the
have
lens.
I'm trying to work out what it says on the back of Shaiko's camera. It's BDS and then a word. Is it power?
RO. I think BDS Power. It's BDS Power is their motto, so I'm assuming it's that. Anyway,
yeah, could be a better
BDS
game
won it.
to place your stuff.
Like 7-0 would have been possible, but 7-1, I'll take it. BDS very, very dominating on the likes of TrainHard. They really stood no chance for completely being overrun with anything they brought, anything they tried, and while BDS showing why they are considered the best in the league.
Well, if you want to play like that, maybe buy the merchandise. I can neither confirm, but I will definitely say the skin helps. But we'll save that for later. For now, let's go check out what they're saying on the desk about what we just saw.
Thank you very much for the sellout segment, Fluke, and